I am standing here with Kim from Geranium Lake Flowers. And Kim, normally when we talk to you, it's in your store. But today we are actually in your yard. And I'm going to say that I do think this is a cutting garden. It really is a space for you to cut stuff. And you use these flowers a lot.
Yeah, this is a garden. It's my joy, but it's also business. Yeah, so anyway, there's lots of things that you can cut in your yard. And sometimes what people think of is they can, only cut flowers. There are delphiniums, there are peonies, there are roses. But there's so many cool things that you can cut. I grow blueberries just for the just for the berry. All sorts of foliage. Weigelia is really fun. And while we're chatting here, my dear, I love you, by the way.
I love you too.
I'm going to tell you some tips. Usually I take my antique trugs. Here, I'll show you one.
I really love those too. Trugs are fun.
I know. They're so fabulous, and they're actually really functional, and I've had this for over 20 years.
Wow.
So I take this little thing out in my jammies. Not a good look, but whatever you want to wear is fine. And I go and harvest things in the morning. I give everything a fresh cut when I get back to the flower shop and put the flowers in warm water, or if you're in your home, just make sure your water is warm.
Okay.
If you want to add a little amendment to the water to make the flowers hold, a little sugar, there's all sorts of wives' tales like pennies and
aspirin.
Viagra.
Viagra, yes, that's...
We won't go there, but anyway. But what I recommend for the home flower person is to go ahead and just always keep the water clear and fresh. So keep changing the water.
And do you also suggest taking any leaves that are in the water off?
Yeah, I strip all the leaves down and make sure there's nothing touching the water. When you come home and it's maybe a warm afternoon or something and you think maybe there's a dead raccoon in your house and you realize it's the flowers.
Well, now one thing I noticed too in this garden, and you're a big believer in just cramming it. No spaces, because you do so much cutting that it almost kind of is like a cleaning of the garden as you go because you cut so much from it.
Basically, I can barely get myself closed because I don't have enough time.
Yeah.
So time is of the essence. So if you don't have enough time, overplant, overplant. Then that way you don't have to weed. And it's fabulous because you can keep cutting, and it's kind of like pruning.
Yeah.
So, you do all these things and you have less work in the
then
end.
It's not just about pruning. It becomes something that you can have to do, which is pruning, but then you can also make beautiful arrangements with it. So it's doing two things at once. That's a stunning peony.
I know. It's kind of the end of the peony season. I have lots of kind of unusual things. I was telling you earlier there was kind of a previous owner that loved plants, and she was from Australia. So there's lots of kind of crazy texture things. I love, variegated foliage, hosta leaves, that kind of thing. And then always with flower arranging, just remember, don't think too much. Just really slam and jam. Woo! I guess that
one didn't want to go, did it? It just fell apart.
No. I love calla lilies. This one is called Green Goddess. It's really gorgeous.
They really are beautiful. And the fun thing about your store, Geranium Lake Flowers, is because you do a lot of classes, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, we do a lot of classes. People are really loved crafting. They love making stuff, and our culture is really starved for that. So, we have a complete list on our website. And don't forget, you have the calla lily, but you can also use the foliage. See how beautiful that is?
And I do think that we tend, in America for some reason, we tend to think of arrangements with flowers as only flowers. We forget about what really makes them pop is the foliage of things.
Yeah, the texture, a little bit of color, a little bit of surprise. We were talking about this sage earlier. Yeah. Sometimes these leaves kind of wilt, so sometimes I cut off the lower leaves.
But the bloom itself is very dramatic on that.
Yeah. Yeah, isn't that pretty?
So, if you love to cut flowers, if you love to bring them into your house, well, have them in your garden, do both. And you think, but I just don't quite know how I can make this look good. There's classes they give at Geranium Lake, so you can learn how to do flower arrangement. To find out when those are, you go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to their website. Thank you so much, my dear.
Thank you.